bringing together powerful voices, climate activists, sustainability leaders, and key policymakers. The Times Network India Climate Summit united to shape an actionable agenda for a climate-resilient India. With a clear directive for impactful climate action for the next decade, the summit championed dialogue and discussion on fostering a resilient India through energy, action, and sustainability at the center. Across every session, distinguished experts and change makers shared insights, solutions, and strategies, championing awareness and protecting the future of our planet. Together, the agenda for a sustainable tomorrow was set down for the next decade. In this episode, joining us was Lokesh Chandra, Chairman and MD of MSEDCL, discusses Maharashtra's leadership in the solar revolution for sustainable agriculture with Hina Gambhir.
Thank you, Mr. Lokesh Chandra, for joining us here today. We are going to be focusing on powering the green shift, Maharashtra's solar surge for sustainable agriculture. Before I begin this discussion, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a little bit about what Maharashtra is up to these days and why other states should also be looking at this new Maharashtra model that we are going to be discussing. So Maharashtra has committed to 100% renewable power for irrigation by 2026, and that's something that we are going to be discussing this evening. Sir, firstly, 2026 is just around the corner. It's already middle of 2025 that we are talking about. Tell us a little bit about this ambition of the state. Are we on track to meet the target?
Just to give a perspective, in fact, let me share some data. Maharashtra is having the highest consumption in the country. The Maharashtra Distribution Company is second largest in the Asia, and the energy consumption which we are having and the industrial growth which we are targeting in next 5 years, where Maharashtra is aspiring to be $1 trillion economy, our energy consumption is going to be higher than number of European countries. Like, to name few, Italy, Spain, UK, and we also surpassing the consumption of Australia and Turkey. So when we are talking this kind of consumption, our agricultural consumption is also highest in the country. Out of total energy consumption, 30% energy consumption is for the agriculture sector. And we are having more than 1.5 crores farmers. Out of this, 45 lakh farmers are our consumers who are having the agriculture pumps. Now, most of the time, the electric supply to the agriculture sector is done in 2 phases. Half of the days we supply electricity during the daytime, and half of the time it is the night time. For the decades, not only in Maharashtra, in most of the states where farmers keep on demanding for daytime power supply, but it's not possible due to the system constraint. At the same time, we have to also optimize the cost of power supply. Now, if we talk about the agriculture sector, most of the time, the supply is at a very hugely subsidized rate. To give you some figures, if my average cost of power supply is 9.5 rupees, the first cross-subsidy burden goes on the industries and other commercial consumers, which makes it around 5 rupee 50 paisa. Then again, the government has to subsidize this tariff to charge only 1 rupee 50 paisa from the farmers. Now, this kind of subsidy burden, when we are looking into this, and we have to make the supply to the agriculture sector sustainable, we decided to switch over to the solar. Now, as you are rightly pointing out, we have taken a very, very ambitious target of shifting this 100% agriculture load, which is to the tune of 16,000 megawatt in Maharashtra, for supplying all the farmers daytime reliable power. We have decided that we will be switching over to the solar energy. And the program is known as Kusum C in Government of India program, and in Maharashtra we call it Mukhyamantri Saur Krishi Vahini 2.0 program. Now, what is happening in this program is actually we are creating smaller decentralized solar parks near the substations where we are going to meet the agriculture load. And we have identified the substation where the agriculture load is substantial, and we are creating the capacity by way of these small decentralized solar parks. Now the target which we have taken is almost 100% load to be transferred to the solar. When we started this program, as you are asking the timeline, why and how it is possible, when we redesigned the whole program, we had a very, very moderate target of 4,000 megawatt initially. But any good scheme which is well designed, which takes care of the concerns of all the stakeholders, the users, the investors, the developers, and also engages the community, what kind of result it can show is the example which we are having here in this agri-solarization program of Maharashtra. When we did the bidding, instead of 4,000 megawatt, we got the bids for 9,200 megawatts. That was almost half of the total load. And when we went for the second phase of the bidding, we could get the 100% bid. Second part of this implementation was the timelines. So when we started, the timeline given was 18 months, that all the developers have to complete these projects, which are the decentralized solar parks, in a period of 18 months. And I'm happy to share that within a period of 6 months, we could see first 5 solar parks commissioned, which were inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister in Maharashtra. And we are 100% confident that all the capacity we are talking will not only come by 26, but much before that. We are targeting by September 26. Okay. And till date, as we are talking, 1,600 megawatt capacity already commissioned. We are 100% sure that this 100% capacity will come by December 26.
Okay, interesting. We look forward to that one, and we'll like to have another conversation with you around that time. But I also want to talk to you a little bit about the impact it is having. About, as far as this entire policy initiative is concerned, how is Maharashtra's solar irrigation initiative actually changing the day-to-day reality for farmers? Did you have a conversation with farmers, groups of farmers? What is their point of view? How is it impacting their life?
So as I mentioned, it was a demand from the farmers to have the supply during the daytime. Because when we are supplying the power during the night hours, there are a lot of challenges which the farmers are facing. One is the attack by the wild animals. And second is also limiting the workforce. In fact, by changing the supply hours to the daytime, we are now seeing that a lot of women are also participating in the farm activities because it is convenient for them, because they cannot go for farm work in the night. And the livelihood change we are seeing, because this daytime power supply is not only ensuring that quality power, at the same time, these farmers are getting assured supply, and their productivity is going up because they are able to be sure of that power is available to them. At the same time, our cost of power supply is also going down. And as we are mentioning, that cost of solar energy is lower. So as earlier I was giving the figures for average cost of power supply, which was 9 rupee 50 paisa per unit. In case of these decentralized solar parks, our cost of supply is going down to 3 rupees. So there is a huge saving in the power purchase cost, which is also ensuring that is huge investment is happening in the rural areas. In fact, for this 16,000 megawatt decentralized solar parks, we are having an investment almost 68,000 crores in Maharashtra. And this is going to create more than 70,000 rural sector jobs. So these farmers, they are getting assured supply, they are getting daytime power supply. At the same time, there are a lot of employment opportunities in the rural areas. And in the scheme, we have also a very specific provision. If the farmer also offers the land where the productivity is low and the land is fallow, then they can get up to 1.25 lakh rupees per hectare for lease rent of the land. So their income is going up, productivity is going up. At the same time, from the government side, we are seeing that our subsidy burden is going to be less now. Cross-subsidy burden, which was earlier on the industry and other consumers, commercial consumers, is going down. So it's a win-win situation. In fact, for the farmers, their livelihood is improving. For the government side, we are also seeing the financial burden is going to
So
be
your
less.
subsidy burden is going down, your power purchase cost is going down. For
Yes.
farmers, it has, proved to be quite beneficial as well. So in a way, we can say there are tangible economic benefits that the state is also getting because of this. You also spoke about employment, job creation. Any targets, any data that you can share with us?
We have estimated this, all the decentralized solar parks which we are creating, there will be around 3,000 locations, and they are widespread across the state. And they are to be maintained for next 25 years because these power purchase agreements are for 25 years. So this is going to create a permanent kind of requirement for the manpower, skilled manpower for maintaining these solar parks. And we have estimated that this is going to create minimum 70,000 rural area jobs. We are also started a skilling program. In fact, recently we have launched Maha Sky program where we are creating skills in the rural youth so that we can get the skilled manpower. At the same time, the job opportunities are created in the rural villages so that locally they can be employed.
These days, we're also seeing states willing to learn best practices from other states. Has any state shown any kind of interest to learn a little bit about this Maharashtra model when it comes to, 100% renewable energy in the irrigation space?
So, in fact, Government of India has already recognized this project as a best practice. They have already issued instructions for replication of this model. Certain states, they have already visited us. In fact, we have shared our experience. To name few, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu. And I'm happy that most of these states are now using this model and trying to go for the decentralized solar parks to meet the agriculture demand. And I think this is the right way of meeting the agriculture demand because most of the discoms face the lot of issues with the agriculture load because recovery is very low. At the same time, you have to ensure that they get the due daytime power supply. By way of switching over to the solar, the load pattern is perfectly matching with the seasonal pattern because solar generation is low during the monsoon season. At the same time, you don't need the actually much power for the irrigation purpose during the monsoon. So we are realizing that, and also whenever the power is not required for the agriculture load, now we are also having provision for the storage facilities. So we are creating distributed storage along with the distributed renewable energy projects so that this power can be stored and used for the peaking power requirement.
But it was interesting to see some non-BJP ruled states also trying to learn this Maharashtra model.
So this is, I think, the beauty of any good program, and most of the discoms, we keep on discussing the good practices and we try to replicate that if there is something good is being done by any discom. So.
Okay. Mr. Chandra, in what ways does this transition, directly contribute to India's national and international climate goals?
So, in fact, as I mentioned, in case of Maharashtra, we have a huge agriculture load. And in the terms of the capacity, I just mentioned 16,000 megawatt. If you see, when we are shifting to the solar, the annual CO2 emission savings will be very, very huge. It will be to the tune of 22 million tons of CO2 emissions reduction every year. And this scale, not only for at the country level, for the global level also, is quite huge. And this will definitely help to meet our national climate targets as well as our global, whatever the commitments we have made. In fact, if we see the total agriculture demand in the country, and if the same model is replicated throughout all the states, so India can definitely meet these climate targets, which are nationally we have taken and global targets we have committed. At the same time, this will also ensure that agriculture productivity goes up because you are getting the assured quality power. At the same time, cost of power supply will be reduced. So this will also reduce the actually burden on the governments in the form of subsidy. Another benefit which will be in terms of the cross-subsidy burden, which we are going to remove from the industries and other commercial consumers. In fact, I would like to share that day before yesterday only we have got our tariff order. And first time in the history of any discom like Maharashtra, we are reducing our power tariff. In fact, we are, for the residential sector, our reduction is minus 10% in first year. If you see the overall tariff pattern for the years, the compound annual growth rate, we call it CAGR, is 9 to 10% positive. Means every year you have to keep on increasing the tariffs, maybe the industrial sector, commercial or residential. First time in Maharashtra, we are having a negative CAGR of 2%. Next 5 years, there will be no increase in the industrial tariff. On the contrary, we are going to have a 8% reduction in the industrial tariff by year 2029 and 30. Same time, we are having for the residential sector, the reduction will be 26%. And for commercial sector, it will be 8%. On the contrary, if you have seen the business as usual, it could have been almost 50% increase in the tariff. So this is the, in fact, benefit, economical benefit we are going to get because we'll be saving the power purchase cost to the tune of 1 lakh crore in next 5 years by switching over to the solar and renewable sources.
In fact, I wanted to ask you about that as well because, when that news came, we did discuss it on our channel as well, that if Maharashtra can, why can't other states do the same thing? Because there are some states which are in fact increasing the power tariff and it is, adding more burden to the common man.
So as I mentioned, it's a normal business as usual scenario where every year there is an increase in the tariffs. Why it is happening? Because now one part I shared, like the Mukhyamantri Saur Krishi Vahini, we are shifting all the agricultural load on the solar. And we have also finalized our resource adequacy plan, which is also having energy transition plan coupled with that. In fact, we have realized that in next 5 years, our total capacity addition which we are doing is almost 45,000 megawatt. From the independence till date, our capacity is 37,000 megawatt, which is predominantly is thermal. Now in next 5 years, the capacity which we are adding around 45,000 megawatt. Out of this, 36,000 megawatt is the renewable energy, which is not only sustainable energy, but affordable. In fact, it's a cheaper energy. We are going to use a lot of solar energy, wind energy, pump storage and battery storage because you need the power 24/7 and these power like the solar or wind are available during certain periods. So along with this energy transition plan which we are now finalized and implemented in Maharashtra, as a result of that, we are seeing the dip in the tariffs. And I'm sure most of the states are also working on in the same way and they should also be able to reduce the tariff, which should be giving a lot of relief to the common man.
And how much will it cost the government?
So government is not costing anything. At the same time, it is saving to the government to the tune of 4,000 to 5,000 crores of subsidy reduction every year. So power purchase cost saving we are passing on to the consumers. At the same time, the cost subsidy burden to the government is getting reduced. So it's a win-win situation. In fact, this sustainable model is also affordable actually.
It's sustainable and then it is becoming affordable as well. Mr. Chandra, I also want to ask you, you've committed to 100% renewable power for irrigation by 2026. Now that you're saying that you are all set to meet this particular target, what next? What are some of the other big things that you're working on right now?
So as I mentioned that one big target which we have taken is for 100% solarization of agriculture feeder, which is the basically solar powered irrigation. Another program which you have just shown in the film, we have decided that for all the new agriculture connection, we are going to give through the off-grid solar pumps. So at the moment, at the national level, if you see, the total pumps installed, which are the solar pumps, is 9.8 lakhs. Out of that, 5.6 lakhs is only in Maharashtra, and in last 1 year, we installed more than 3 lakh pumps. So this is also helping us in reducing our burden on the grid. At the same time, our losses are going down. In fact, another benefit of this renewable energy or this decentralized solar program which we have taken for the agriculture, we are also having lot of reduction in our T&D losses, because now the power is locally generated and fed into the grid and consumed locally. So we are saving in the T&D losses. At the same time, the investment which is required for the transmission lines is also not required, because there is no transmission strengthening required when we are meeting this load locally. Now, next 2 or 3 big things which we have done is basically going for the pumped storage, because we have seen that by shifting to the solar during the daytime, for the agriculture during the daytime, lot of energy will be surplus available when we are not using it for the agriculture purpose. So we have 28,000 megawatt hour pumped storage schemes which we have finalized. And again, I am happy to share that all these programs which we have designed, almost 2/3 is happening in Maharashtra. So in terms of this resource adequacy plan implementation which we have finalized, total investment required in next 5 years is 3,30,000. Out of this 2/3 investment is going to happen in Maharashtra. So in terms of job creation, this will be almost 7 lakh jobs will be created locally, which will be available in the rural areas. And definitely this will help us in reducing the power cost further. In fact, we are also working on this along with the distributed renewable energy project with the distributed battery storage. And again, when we did the bidding and the scale and quantum which we have in Maharashtra, we got one of the lowest bids in the country. So we are getting the economies of scale also, benefit also. And with this, all initiatives which we have taken, I think Maharashtra will become a role model for all the DISCOMs to be followed. And I think most of these similar size countries will also find it very, very useful model, because when we are injecting more and more renewables in the grid, there is a lot of uncertainty we are creating. But when we are taking care of the locally generated power and used locally, and we are having the distributed storage facility, I think a lot of stress on the grid will also be taken care.
Very interesting. Thank you very much, Mr. Lokesh Chandra. Appreciate you joining us here today. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.